The moment I opened my locker and saw the bright pink envelope balanced atop my time card, I knew something was wrong. It wasn't the color, it was the handwriting. Loopy, confident, glitter ink cursive. Chloe Hartman, my younger sister, always had a way of making even her insults look like invitations. I stared at it for a second too long, still wearing my coffee-stained apron, my name tag slightly crooked. Behind me, the espresso machine hissed, and Samira, my manager, called out an order without turning around. Table 7 wants oat milk, not almond, Allie. I tucked the envelope into my coat pocket and muttered, "Got it," but my hands shook as I prepped the drink. The last time I heard from Chloe was a year ago, an Instagram tag in a family holiday photo I wasn't in. Before that, the occasional backhanded compliment, a shared meme she thought applied to my struggle aesthetic, or the dreaded holiday dinner invite sent just late enough to make attendance impossible. I finished my shift with robotic precision, handed off to the night barista, and headed home with Logan's favorite bagel in hand. He was already sitting at the kitchen table when I walked in, backpack unzipped, crayons scattered, math workbook open. "You're home early," he beamed. "Ms. Taylor said I finished the fraction puzzle faster than anyone today." "Of course you did," I smiled, kissing his forehead and ruffling his hair. "You've got your mom's stubborn genes." That night, after Logan fell asleep watching Mythbusters, I finally opened the envelope. It was an invitation. Heavy cardstock, gold foil borders, hand calligraphed names. Chloe Hartman and Ethan Blake request the honor of your presence at their wedding celebration. Saturday, June 15th, Fairmont Vineyard. My name was spelled Allison. There was no +1. There was no Logan. I stared at it for minutes, unsure if the heat building in my chest was anger or humiliation. Then I laughed, a bitter, breathless sound. I had worked 2 jobs for 8 years, raised Logan alone after his father vanished mid-pregnancy, skipped vacations, canceled dental work, sold my engagement ring to pay off medical bills, and now I was being invited to sit quietly in the back of the wedding of the century, the one where my sister would shine under chandeliers and curated hashtags. The RSVP deadline was next week. Samira noticed the envelope in my bag the next morning. "You going?" she asked, raising an eyebrow as I handed her the morning report. I shrugged. "Logan wants to. He thinks it'll be fun. He doesn't remember enough of the family to know why it's not." "You sure it's a good idea?" she asked gently. I wasn't, but that's what hope does. It keeps you entertaining things you shouldn't. The week crawled by. I worked both jobs. 6 a.m. shifts at the cafe, 5 p.m. desk duty at the hotel. Logan practiced tying his little tie in the bathroom mirror every night. "I want to look like someone they'll remember," he said once. The words haunted me. The Friday before the wedding, Derek cornered me in the hotel back office. He used to be my supervisor, until I caught him rerouting high-value bookings through a side client for commission. I reported it. HR did nothing. He got promoted. I got relocated to night shift. "You're still here?" he scoffed. "I thought after the complaint you'd quit." I didn't answer. "You're lucky," he continued. "Some people wouldn't get second chances." "I didn't ask for a second chance," I said, folding towels tightly. "I asked for fairness." His eyes narrowed. "Careful, Allie. You keep acting like you deserve things and people might start expecting you to." Saturday arrived. Logan's tie was slightly crooked. I fixed it. My dress was a rental, navy blue, knee-length, the kind of formal that says, "I tried, but not too hard." We drove in silence, Logan humming the wedding march off-key. The Fairmont Vineyard glowed with elegance. Marble fountains, white roses, valet service, champagne trays balanced on crisp-gloved hands. We were seated at table 9, near the restrooms, behind a pillar, next to an elderly couple who didn't remember me. Chloe passed by, radiant in white lace, flanked by photographers and bridesmaids. She noticed me for half a second. "You made it," she said, tilting her head like she wasn't sure whether to be pleased or annoyed. Her eyes flicked to Logan. "He's grown. Doesn't talk much, does he?" I smiled tightly. "Only when he wants to be heard." She nodded and walked off without hugging me. Marilyn, our mother, never even looked my way. Dinner passed in a blur. Logan smeared chocolate mousse on his tie. I helped him clean it. Chloe floated around like royalty. The music swelled. Glasses clinked. People laughed. Then Tanya, Chloe's bridesmaid, a former coworker of mine, leaned down beside me. "Just a heads up," she whispered. "Chloe's speech, it's not really about love." "What?" "She practiced it in front of us last night. Thought it was hilarious. The single mom jokes, the warnings. She's planning to—" "Why are you telling me this now?" Tanya shrugged, half guilty. "I didn't know you'd actually show up." Before I could respond, the mic screeched. The best man made his toast. Forgettable. A few polite laughs. Then Chloe stood. She looked like a movie star under the chandeliers. She held her champagne flute like a queen. And then she smiled directly at me. No, not at me. Through me. "I want to say something about my big sister," she began. "Allison's always been an example to me. A single mom, strong, independent, clearly unwanted by anyone else." The room laughed. My chest tightened. Logan looked up at me, blinking. "Why did she say that about you, Mom?" I couldn't answer. Chloe continued. "She's managed to survive all on her own, and with whoever was kind enough to babysit." More laughter, sharper, crueler. And then Marilyn added from her table, loud and proud, "Used product, but she still polishes up nice." Logan flinched. The napkin in my lap twisted between my fingers like a lifeline. I scanned the room. No one met my eyes. Even Grandpa George avoided me. My son, my joy, was watching a room full of people mock his mother like she was a joke with a punchline they'd all rehearsed. And I sat there, frozen, humiliated. But something shifted in the air. A chair scraped against the floor. Ethan, Chloe's groom, stood up, his face unreadable, not amused, not charmed. He took the mic. My breath caught. He didn't look at Chloe, he looked at me. "If you've ever been overlooked after giving everything you had, type 1. 10 minutes before Chloe's wedding speech, I got a text from the hotel's assistant GM. "We need to discuss a complaint filed last night. Come in Monday. HR included." I reread the message 3 times. No explanation, no sender name. Just cold, formal corporate language that made my stomach twist. And suddenly, the roast chicken on my plate tasted like cardboard. The only person who could have filed anything was Derek, and I had a sick feeling this was connected to that smirk he wore last week when he said I was lucky to still be employed. My hands went cold. This wasn't just about family anymore. This was about control, about humiliation bleeding into every part of my life. Logan nudged my elbow. "Mom," he whispered. "She's standing up." The lights dimmed slightly. The music softened. And Chloe, glowing under the amber chandeliers, walked gracefully to the microphone, champagne flute in hand, and that signature confident smile she'd mastered since she was 12. "I want to thank all of you for being here," she began. "This day means everything to me, to be surrounded by friends, by love, and of course, by family." She turned toward me deliberately. I felt the weight of 100 eyes follow. "I want to take a moment to honor someone really special, my big sister, Allison, or as Mom likes to say, our family's cautionary tale." A few awkward chuckles echoed. Someone clinked their glass. I sat straighter, holding Logan's hand under the table. He looked up at me, smiling, still thinking this was going to be sweet. I knew better, but I hadn't expected it to burn like this. "Allison is a fighter," Chloe continued, her voice like silk. "She's a single mom. She works 2 jobs. She manages. No partner, no help, just her, and maybe a rotating cast of babysitters." Scattered laughter. My vision blurred. "But she's always shown up, always found a way to survive, even when no one wanted her." The laughter now was louder, sharper, less restrained. I felt Logan stiffen. He tugged my sleeve. "Mom, what's she saying?" I couldn't answer. "She even came today," Chloe went on, smiling brightly. "She came in her best dress, rented, I assume, and brought her adorable little boy. Honestly, it's inspiring how she still holds her head high." My mouth went dry. My heart pounded in my ears. I wanted to vanish. Then Marilyn chimed in, loud and proud from the family table. Still looks good for a used product. The room erupted. Laughter bounced off the crystal walls like glass breaking in slow motion. I gripped my napkin, felt my nails dig through the fabric. I searched for a face, any face, to meet mine with decency. But they all looked away. Even Grandpa George, once my biggest supporter, stared down at his half-eaten salad like it might rescue him. Logan turned to me, his smile long gone. Why are they laughing at you? That was what shattered me. Not the words, not the laughter, but the confusion in my son's voice, his tiny hand clutching mine like a question he didn't know how to ask. I stood, barely aware of the motion. My chair scraped loudly against the floor, and then another chair followed, not Marilyn's, not George's. It was Ethan. He stood slowly, deliberately. The laughter died instantly. He walked toward Chloe, but his eyes never left me. Then, without asking, he took the microphone from her. The room froze. Enough, Ethan said, voice low but firm. Just enough. Chloe blinked. Her smile wavered. Ethan, babe, it's just a... No, Chloe, it's not. He turned toward the crowd. I've spent the last year being told how much this family values tradition, loyalty, public image. But what I just witnessed isn't family. That was mockery, dressed up as wit. No one moved. He continued louder now. You made fun of a woman, your sister, for raising a child alone. You mocked her courage, her work ethic, her love, and you did it in front of her child. And you all laughed. He scanned the room. Several people dropped their gazes. The band stopped tuning. I won't be part of this, Ethan said. I won't stand beside cruelty just because it's packaged with linen napkins and curated hashtags. Chloe opened her mouth again, but he didn't even glance at her. Allie didn't stand here to defend herself, he said, turning to me. She showed up, quietly, gracefully. She didn't ask for applause. She didn't ask for pity. And yet, she was the only one in this room acting with dignity. Then he looked down at Logan. Your mom is the strongest person in this room. Don't ever forget that. Logan's eyes widened, his grip tightening on mine. Ethan turned back to the guests. I think I've seen enough. He set the mic down, walked right past Chloe, and kept walking, straight out of the reception hall. No music followed, no one clapped. Silence lingered like a fog, thick and unrelenting. Marilyn stood abruptly, her voice sharp. Ungrateful little boy. Ruined everything, just like her. But her words didn't carry. The authority she always wore like perfume had evaporated. No one laughed anymore. No one moved. I bent down to Logan and whispered, We're going home, sweetheart. He nodded solemnly. As we turned to walk out, the crowd parted, unsure whether to say anything. Halfway to the door, I heard my name. Allie. I turned. It was George. His eyes were red-rimmed, voice trembling. I'm sorry, he said. I should have said something years ago. I nodded. That was enough. Outside, the air was cool and clean, like breathing for the first time in weeks. Logan looked up at me. Mom, is the wedding over? I smiled faintly. I think it ended exactly when it was supposed to. If you've ever been made a joke in a room where you just wanted to belong, type 2. You're not alone. On Monday morning, I walked into the hotel's HR office with my heart pounding harder than my heels on the lobby tile. There was no greeting, just a clipboard, a closed door, and two people I didn't recognize wearing thin smiles and expensive glasses. Ms. Hart, one of them said, we've received an anonymous report alleging that you made disparaging comments about your supervisor, attempted to disrupt booking protocols, and contributed to a hostile work environment. I froze. What are you talking about? My voice cracked. That's not true. The woman in the navy suit slid a printout across the table. My heart dropped. It was a screenshot of a Slack message. From me. Or at least, it looked like it was from me. Words I'd never typed. Snarky jabs about Derek. Accusations about company ethics. And it was time-stamped 10:46 p.m., right in the middle of Chloe's wedding disaster. I wasn't even online that night, I said, breathless. I was. I was at an event. Do you have proof? The man asked. I blinked. It was a wedding. I'm sure someone. He cut me off gently. We'll investigate, but in the meantime, we're placing you on temporary leave. Please return your badge and system credentials before leaving today. Just like that, I was out. No warning, no context, no justice. As I walked to the elevator, I knew two things. Derek had faked that message and someone, probably Tanya, had helped him. And still, somehow, I didn't cry. Maybe because I had already broken, or maybe because Ethan's words were still echoing in my mind from 2 nights ago. By the time I picked Logan up from school, my phone had 23 missed calls, mostly from numbers I didn't recognize. When I got home, there was a voicemail from Samira. Allie, there's a video from the wedding, Ethan's speech. It's gone viral. I opened my phone, thumb trembling, and there it was, posted by a guest, reshared by another, then picked up by a wedding gossip page. Groom cancels wedding with viral speech defending bride's sister. Over 600,000 views. I watched it, not once, not twice, but 5 times in a row. Ethan's voice, steady, powerful, righteous. And me in the background, still holding Logan's hand like an anchor. The comment section was on fire. This man is a hero. Every single mom just got a bit of justice. She didn't even flinch. Strength looks like this. Someone give her a job and a crown. For the first time in a decade, I didn't feel invisible. By Thursday, Chloe had issued a public statement. Sometimes humor is misunderstood. Our family uses sarcasm as affection. But people weren't buying it. Screenshots leaked, texts in the bridesmaid group chat. Chloe calling me the charity seat filler. Tanya laughing. Marilyn instructing everyone to pretend they don't notice the stains. The whole internet turned, and then came the letter, delivered by hand, cream-colored envelope, no return address, inside was a card. To the lioness. No signature, I knew who sent it. Ethan had disappeared after the wedding. No interviews, no social media, not even a whisper from Chloe. But somehow, his absence said more than any follow-up could. That weekend, Grandpa George showed up at our apartment. He brought Logan a wooden puzzle and me a look of regret that weighed heavier than his cane. I watched that video a dozen times, he said quietly, sitting at our kitchen table. And all I could think was, why didn't I speak sooner? You were silent, I said gently, like the rest of them. I was scared, he admitted. Marilyn runs that family like a courtroom. Speak out and you're cut off. I nodded. I know, I lived it. He sighed. I can't fix the past, but I want to start being someone Logan can be proud of. That hit me harder than I expected. Monday came again. I was still suspended. Bills didn't pause, so I did something I hadn't done in years. I wrote an email to corporate HR. I attached my phone GPS record, proving I wasn't home at 10:46 p.m. I uploaded a screenshot from the wedding video, time-stamped with Logan in my lap. I told them I believed the Slack message was faked. I ended with one line. If you value integrity, please review the metadata. An hour later, I got a reply. They were launching a full investigation. Immediately. That night, I slept without a knot in my chest. 2 days later, Chloe texted me, "You're trending. Just FYI, people don't know the full story." I stared at the message, reread it 3 times, then replied, "They know enough, and so do I." On Friday, a letter arrived from the hotel's legal team. I was cleared, no formal record. Derek was placed on administrative leave. The metadata didn't lie. His IP had spoofed mine using VPN tricks. Tanya, too, was mentioned. A warning, a quiet suspension. But enough. Samira called me that evening, voice triumphant. "You're coming back," she said. With a raise and a new title, Guest Services Lead. I didn't speak for a second. Then I laughed. Not bitter, not broken, just free. Saturday morning, Logan tugged at my arm while brushing his teeth. "Mom, do you think Ethan's okay?" "I think he's doing exactly what he needs to," I said. "Healing in peace." Logan paused. "He's like Iron Man. He saw something wrong and just stood up." I smiled into the mirror. Not everyone can do that. Logan turned, serious. But I want to. And that's when I realized Ethan hadn't just protected me. He'd changed Logan. That one act, that one break in the cycle, had reprogrammed something deeper in both of us. The next week, I saw Chloe at the pharmacy. No makeup, oversized sunglasses, tapping away on her phone like she still controlled the room. She caught my eye and offered a smile. "Hey," she said softly. "Guess things turned out okay for you." I didn't smile back, just said, "They turned out honest, that's better." She blinked. Then I added calmly, "Don't contact me again, unless it's an apology, a real one." And I walked away. If someone has ever stood up for you when you thought no one would, type 3. Sometimes courage doesn't shout, it just shows up. The final blow didn't come in a courtroom. It came in the form of a bank notification. Transfer alert, $6,100 withdrawn. Check number 0325. Memo, event retainer. My jaw tightened as I stared at the screen, standing in the cereal aisle of a grocery store. Logan was 2 feet away, debating the merits of Frosted Flakes over oatmeal squares. My brain, meanwhile, was racing. That account was joint, left over from when Chloe and I shared financial responsibilities for our late father's estate. A technical leftover no one had bothered to close. We hadn't touched it in years, and now, overnight, she'd drained it. No warning, no explanation. I called the bank. The answer was robotic. The transaction was authorized via previously linked credentials. Disputes may be filed with formal documentation. I didn't even bother responding. I just hung up and leaned my forehead against the cold metal shelf. She wasn't done. She couldn't humiliate me in front of 200 people and 500,000 strangers online. Now she was coming for my quiet, my security, my ability to breathe without flinching. And still, I didn't cry. That night, after Logan fell asleep, I opened the drawer where I kept my old journals, tucked between expired coupons and a first aid kit. Inside was something I hadn't looked at in years, a letter I once drafted but never sent. Addressed to myself, from myself, dated 6 years ago, the day I learned Logan's father had married someone else 2 states over. It read, "If you're reading this and you're still quiet, stop." I folded it back carefully and placed it beside the latest bank statement. Then I pulled out my laptop and started typing. The email to Chloe was short. "Chloe, I noticed the withdrawal from the estate account. I'll be filing a dispute and requesting a formal audit of all linked transactions since 2019. Consider this your final message from me. If you attempt further retaliation, I will escalate through legal and public channels. Do not contact me again unless it's through counsel." I copied Grandpa George and our family attorney from years ago, and then I hit send. My hands didn't shake this time. The following morning, Marilyn called. "I heard you're still milking the wedding drama," she said, voice sharp as ever, "dragging our name through the mud." "I'm not dragging anything," I said. "You and Chloe did that all by yourselves." Her tone turned colder. "You know she's fragile, right? After everything that happened with Ethan, she's not, well..." "And I'm supposed to care now?" I replied. "She's your sister." "No, she was my mistake to keep forgiving." There was a pause on the line. Just the faint static of judgment crackling through the silence. "You embarrassed the family, Allison. You should have laughed. It was a joke." I finally let myself say it. "It wasn't funny, and I'm not your scapegoat anymore." Click. I blocked her number. I blocked her. That afternoon, I opened my email to find a single-line reply from Ethan. "If you ever need a reference, you've got one for life. EB." I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Some things are better left as anchors, silent but steady. A few weeks passed. I went back to work. Samira threw me a mini welcome-back lunch with cupcakes that said Lioness in icing. Derek was quietly removed from all client-facing systems. Tanya's suspension was never mentioned out loud, but everyone noticed her sudden politeness. More than that, people looked me in the eye now, not with pity, with respect. One morning, as I was restocking towels behind the front desk, a woman in a red coat checked in. Mid-50s, confident corporate vibe. "You're Allison Hart?" she asked, reading from a printed sheet. Yes, I replied carefully. I recognized you from the wedding video. I just want you to know what you did, walking out with your son like that. That was strength. My daughter showed me that clip. She's a single mom, too. I blinked. Thank you. That means a lot. Keep walking, the woman smiled. They don't deserve your stillness. Logan changed, too. He started asking bigger questions. Why people lie, why families hurt each other, why some grown-ups laugh when others are in pain. I never had the perfect answers, but I told him the truth. Kindness doesn't always win first, but it always lasts longer. He nodded and told me Ethan was still cooler than any superhero. I didn't argue. One night, as we walked past a bridal shop on Main Street, Logan tugged my coat. "Mom," he said, pointing at the mannequin in the window, "you'd look cooler than Aunt Chloe in that dress." I laughed. "Maybe, but I'm not putting that on for anyone who laughs when I bleed." He tilted his head. "So, who would you wear it for?" I paused. "Someone who sees me before I have to explain myself." He didn't speak. He just reached up and held my hand a little tighter. 3 days later, I received a courier envelope with no sender name. Inside was a printed apology, typed, signed, Chloe Hartman. It was 5 paragraphs of self-pity and legal disclaimers, ending with a forced acknowledgement. "I may have gone too far. I understand why you'd cut ties. This is not an attempt at reconciliation, just recognition." I stared at it. I didn't smile. I didn't tear it up either. I just folded it and placed it next to the old letter in my drawer. Some exits don't need applause, just distance. Life didn't turn into a fairy tale. I still had bills, still worked weekends, still juggled laundry and late-night spelling tests. But I carried myself differently now. And Logan? He started writing his own stories. Stories about underdogs and quiet heroes. Stories where people got second chances, not because they begged for them, but because they earned them. One night, while brushing his teeth, Logan looked at me in the mirror and asked, "Mom, are you still sad about what Aunt Chloe said?" I met his eyes in the reflection. "Not anymore," I said. "Good," he said, "because I think you won, even if it wasn't a fight." That line stayed with me, because he was right. I didn't scream. I didn't slap anyone. I didn't demand revenge. I just stood up, held my son's hand, and walked away. And someone else, someone unexpected, decided that silence wasn't good enough anymore. That's how the pattern broke. If you've ever walked away with your dignity instead of staying for the applause, type 4. You might have saved more than just yourself.